Well, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Even before I introduce my colleague who's joining us, I want to get this out of the way and hopefully at the end of the show, do it again. Happy birthday. This is from Yao Forsen, a director right here with us. Happy birthday to my dearest Irabna Kusi Mensah. Stay blessed and beautiful. And it is from Yao Forsen. Beautiful, eh? I'll repeat that. So happy birthday to my dearest Irabna Kusi Mensah. Stay blessed and beautiful is from Yao Forsen. And he says he says that from the bottom of his heart. I would also like to say there's a very happy Mother's Day in advance because I'll not be on set come Sunday. To my own mother, Susie Akakpo, thank you so much for making me the person I am. To my foster mom, Fran Craig, to Susanna, Manua Ankra, Madam Mary Osei, Victoria Kudao, Veronica Blebo, and all the mother figures out there. Happy Mother's Day in advance. All right, let me come into the studio and give you Samuel Kojo Brace in the red corner.
You know what?
Dale, what's up? What's up? One.
Well, things are fine.
If he say midday pan or something, I don't know where is that.
You remember when I was in the senior high school, I started speaking Patois, and one of my teachers from basic school called me and said, "Could you know?"
Also, more.
Yeah. Else by now I'm catching Patois be a make.
Why you say?
Yeah. By now I'm coming to reggae grandkids.
But speaking of school, the National Science and Math quiz is going on, and is your school in there? No, it's just an innocent, innocuous, harmless question.
We'll be in there someday. Huh? We'll be in there someday. Don't worry.
It's a preliminary no crowd.
But I never.
Oh, you competed?
Oh yeah, we did.
And they booted you out?
Oh yeah, they did. It was. I mean, the truth is, the performance was abysmal. But we've taken it in good stride. We'll come back again.
Oh, so it was unanimous 7-0. They booted you.
Oh yeah. It was Charlie sharp. The way they did was quite disheartening. But yeah, Charlie, we are preparing. We'll be back stronger.
Yeah, day pan.
Oh yes.
But I mean, on a more serious note, that was just me being naughty.
Oh no, that's fine. I mean,
that was my being naughty.
One day maybe we'll meet your school, we'll beat your school, and then we'll come and sit here and talk about it.
But no. But it goes to tell you that a lot of schools are not properly resourced the way they could be.
Yeah.
And we have a long way to go.
And it takes a lot more. Probably what some of these schools should be doing is to find out from the, like the A schools in National Science and Math schools.
Right.
Like the...
what they've managed to get right.
The Pope Jones, the Presex, to find out how they go about their preparation. So that maybe we can do same and also start to fly high. Because
it also has to, do with laboratories, science laboratories.
Exactly.
There's also a huge logistical component in there. And it is no surprise that a school like Presec, with all that, former students and others are pumping in there, and all those other, bits coming in help out. So other schools ought to look at that as well. But before we even get into the papers this morning, there are a few things that I have been looking at. Interestingly, it's become topical because apparently some people are now refusing to take Momo.
I don't know why.
You go there and, someone sent me a photo yesterday, and I'll not mention the name of this outlet. It's one of the fuel outlets. And they've written there, Momo not accepted today.
Yeah, I've also seen this picture.
In fact, Momo not acceptable today. And I don't know whether, it could be a number of factors. It could be that their Momo line
they have a challenge with it
or something. But there are more and more reports of people coming out to say, Momo bio.
Yeah.
And Dr. Nkrumah, the Deputy Finance Minister, has spoken to those bits about the illegality of that, because money is legal tender, whether electronically or in whatever form. So if they're refusing to take it...
But this is not money. This is a medium through which I want to pay my money.
Yeah, but there's still money being processed.
Well, but if the person says that, look, I don't want to do e-levy, I'm not sure they can arrest anybody. Maybe what we should do is to educate people the more. Look, I've had it. On Monday, I went to the Hacho area and wanted to find something to eat. When I went there and I said, I want to pay with Momo, the person said, no, I won't take Momo. I didn't ask her why. I just said, okay, fine. then let me go withdraw money from my wallet and come and pay you. So that's what I did. So it can be real. Because I've experienced it. I don't know why the person said he's not taking Momo, but I guess what people are saying might be true in a way. But I think government should rather educate than to threaten.
Force it down the throat.
That they would arrest. Because if I've sold something and I don't want you to pay through a certain medium, I'm not sure that's illegal. What we should get people to understand is that when we all accept the system to run, we're all helping Ghana to develop. Because we have been talking about cashless society. A cashless economy is where you won't see me using, the fiscal money to pay you. Everything is electronically. I think that's where we should all go. So we should encourage people to buy into it than to say that would arrest you. I think that if he reflects over what he said, he might probably come back to say, no, we might not arrest. We should probably go about educating people the more.
And I think in this regard, government should tread cautiously. Establishment should tread cautiously, because out there, when I go, there's a lot of negative vibe. I mean, you've heard from the mobile money agents. Yesterday, they were lamenting how a lot of people are just coming to cash out. They're just taking, in fact, the payments have really, I wouldn't say ground to a halt, but they've reduced to the point where some of them are complaining that they don't even have money when now people come to cash out because there's no money coming in. So the education must really be ramped up. They must engage the NCC and other bodies so that, come to us, entities like the multimedia group, and of course you'll chip in, but we'll help in whichever ways that we can, so that the consciousness of it is out there. Because right now, a lot of people either are ignorant. You speak to some of them and they have all kinds of ideas about Momo. Then some too are simply averse to it. Those ones, you can't do anything to them. Some too don't have the proper calculation. Some are even calculating, including the first 100 cities and all of that. So when you speak to people, you realize that there's so much more we can do that we've not done. I don't know. They speak about education. I don't know what the plan is. But as it is now, I think we would suffer in terms of getting what we've
the targeted projected. Revenue. Oh, yes. I think that we should have done more education before the implementation came off, because you realize, out of all the discussions that we've been having, education seem to have not been done properly.
Right.
And that's why people are still having the sentiment of, I won't be part of Momo and what have you. Yesterday, I was talking to Mr. Joe Jackson, who said that her mother-in-law, 81 years old, withdrew all her money from her wallet.
Probably some young person has told the old woman, hey, maybe someone will even, at the Hokra, you better tell 1.5 every day.
It's something that is going on.
And it's all because you've not done the right thing in terms of education. But well, let's hope for the best. Well, let's get into the papers.
But before, one thing is also that maybe we have to check how we do politics with some of these issues. I'm sure
I don't think this one can be rescued from politics. You know why?
You can't, eh?
It's been terribly political right from the start. and look at where we find ourselves now. It's like free SHS almost. Do you know why I'm saying that? Someone said, I'll give you free SHS now.
No.
Another person said, let's make it progressive. The Ghanaians decided we want it now. Today, you say e-levy. Someone says, when I come, I'll scrap it. It is political on every level. There's nothing you can do about it.
Anyway, let's see. Let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes.
I just hope
get into the
Anyway, let's start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. It says, work to boost local economy. Dan Boche charges MMDA. So there's a 2-day training workshop for MMDAs here in Accra.
Right.
And the opening was yesterday. That's where he made this call that, look, work to ensure that you are making your economies better in your locality. That's how you can create jobs and make your local areas vibrant to attract investors. So that's the sort of admonition that he gave them. Accra train shuttle fails to bounce back 7 months after rail line rehabilitation. Oh, that's for the rail sector. Defense Minister urges ECOWAS militaries to protect elected government. Clock sack strike continues. The Bible influences my decisions. That's according to the president. But you know what? My take will be on the real sector.
I was just waiting for you to, try to dilate on that because I get so sad. Yeah. Even when we start a little, it just fades away and all of that. You know, in pre-colonial or colonial times, the colonial era, quite a bit was done in terms of our rail infrastructure. Yeah. That if we had continued, I think we would have been one of the foremost countries in Africa when it comes to rail networks. Yeah. And just imagine, with everything we're looking at in terms of the rising fuel prices and all of that, these would have been very cheap ways of commuting and from very distant places. It would have expanded our economy because when you're using rail, I mean, there are bullet trains and all of that when you go to other parts of the world. So you can commute faster. You can move from the northern region to maybe somewhere close to the southern belt within a short space of time, which means that we can do more business, which means that our economic growth would also be larger than it is now. But we see what we do. We play politics with everything.
So what was going to happen? One thing that was going to happen was that it was going to, if we are able to develop our rail sector, it will take a lot of the traffic off our highways. So, for example, I can live in Takoradi and still work at Joy because I can spend 1 hour on train.
Exactly.
Move from Takoradi to Accra.
You wake up at 4.
Yes.
You get, and there are times. You get in here by 5.
And I'm here.
You're good to go.
You know, after I go back to, so we could have, you know, gotten development spread out because people could live in Takoradi.
That's a great point. That's another thing because we've centralized a lot of the development in the urban areas.
Yes.
It could have spread even further.
You know, so you take the pressure on our highways off, we won't spend a lot of money rehabilitating because manganese could have been hauled solely on rail. Now we've divided them. Truck, we're doing some by road, some by rail. But the road is more than the rail. So we have to, that's why the Takwa road is so terrible.
Right.
Because the weight that's on that road, I'm not sure when we were constructing the road, that's the sort of weight we envisaged. Right. So by developing our railways, we would have a lot of benefit. I remember during the Jogate time, we had a lot of things happening. Today, we don't hear a lot of, I don't know really what's happening anyway. But during the Jogate time, you sought to hear a lot or you know, news about railway development was always in there. So you could follow what was happening. I was in South Africa when we met Transnet. And Transnet is a South African company that is in charge of their rail and port. And they were willing to come and partner. They were here. They've come here 2 times to see how we can develop even the Western Rail line. I don't know where we are today. We started the passenger services on the Western Rail line from Takoradi to Takwa. It was going so well. Traders and people who were the farmers along the line were saying that this is good. We could then take our product from the farm gate to the centers in
So it would have facilitated all of this, and we've not done that. And even as you speak about agricultural produce and even our mining resources, we talk about cocoa roads, for example. We could have had cocoa railway networks.
Yes.
And in the past, this was done. In fact, in the colonial era, these were some of the mechanisms in place to haul mineral resources out, you know, to vantage points.
Yes, to the
upward. Exactly. Here we are now, and it is and it is so sad. I mean, everything that is worthy. Recently, there was some talk about some rail networks and problems here, and then people also stealing certain, you know, parts of that. Serious. But if we had the right infrastructure and if we had the right security measures, do you think it couldn't happen in? It couldn't have been happening in other jurisdictions, but you can't even do it because of the security mechanism. So it's but let me just fast forward this. We even moved from this basic or infantile stage and said that we were going to have, is it air trains or something?
Yes.
Air buses or air trains?
We call it sky trains.
Sky trains. That's
sky trains.
What happened to that agenda?
Nobody knows. So, you know, we have rehabilitated the line, but there are no trains on it. Can the government tell us what is happening that we don't have trains on the lines to be working? I remember they started the Tema to Accra, and there was derailment. I don't know if you remember.
I recall.
During the time. So what has happened? We should be giving briefings. I know this Dr. Charles Mensah, one of the guy, the nanotechnologist.
I think it's Thomas Mensah.
Thomas Mensah.
Right.
He came in here and said I could do bullet trains. And there were plans to get bullet trains so that I could move from Takoradi even to Accra in 40 minutes.
Right.
Because bullet trains are the fastest, the faster trains. So we could link the...
But do we have the right technology?
But he is an engineer, and he says we can do it. So he came in here.
The processes would have been put in place before.
Exactly. So we should be told where we are.
I think part of the problem, Kojo, is apart from the national sentiment that maybe we should do this and that, there's also the political element. And sometimes I believe, I feel our politicians, if there's not much in it for them, kickbacks and personal interest, and will my company get some contract here or there? If it's not there, they don't show enough interest. But when it is there, then you see them pushing the thing. It's like Parliament when, and I say this respectfully, when we're talking money matters and ex gratia and we are all in, we are at idem, we are on the same page. Emoluments, anything else.
Charlie, because the real sector there, if we develop it, the benefit that it will accrue to Ghana is enormous.
I'll tell you, it's one of the most shocking bits of our underdevelopment that I look at and I think, you know, sometimes you see that in this country, you look at the NDPC and stuff, and you see that we could have an agenda. Sometimes I feel our politicians cloud themselves or clothe themselves with too many things. Part of why this administration is suffering is because I feel they talked too much. They said too much. We'll do this, we'll do that. With very finite resources. Finite resources, limited resources. Let's focus on key thematic areas. And that is where a national plan, not a party-centric plan.
A national plan.
A national plan. Within the next 10 years, let's focus on railways and our road networks. Let's do this and that. But Obia Pesoba no dini din ekotubi. So I will continue with the shambolic development.
Anyway, but once they do that, we also, as citizens, we also have to be open to these things. Like when they come, they tell us, okay, 10 years we're going to do rail line or railway.
I think
and
if they were that open,
we would have bought
and communicating with the people, and the people were seeing the thing, who wouldn't go along?
Let's see how we can change the narrative. Anyway, Ben?
The Ghanaian Times, AMA warns public against processing food in markets. This has become a very topical issue. Captured there, Madam Florence Kuchi, with whom we've been working on that clean campaign. 2 women fined 612 Ghana cedis for burying baby girl without permit. You remember the recent incident, was it at CAF? And all the matters that came out. I'm not tying this to that, but sometimes we have all of those issues. And also something that comes to mind, how some hospitals sometimes, and when I mentioned CAF, it just had to do with a specific issue that is gone. It has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
But the bit about time and again, you hear hospitals supposedly bury
there was one
who have died
at Nkrumah.
That one too.
And it brought
and I think that thing ought to stop.
Okay.
There's also ECOWAS Chiefs of Defense Staff discuss security in sub-region. Adopt digital technology for internal audit. VIP asks or tasks internal auditors. Let me just do some foreign stories. Togolese president agrees to mediate Mali crisis, and UN chief hits out at UK Rwanda deal vaccine. And all those stories in the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
Let me do a story from the Daily Statesman because of the nature of it. It says, driver jailed 10 years for acid attack on girlfriend.
Acid attack?
Yes. And
you know, people doing that kind of nonsense.
It comes to the
I'm sorry, like, but the law is the law. So
yeah.
Look at the story that was done in the news where a parent dips a child's hands in.
Shocking.
How can you do that to someone, no matter what they've done to you?
I don't know. I don't know where our love for each other has gone to. Because if I love Ben, I'm not sure I would have to pour acid on you for your face to be like this. And we should probably regulate how people get access to assets. Because the sort of stories we hear people, or the crimes people commit with assets, it's just too much. Why can't we make it unaccessible to people? This is something we have to regulate. Like the DDT came and we're talking about how they get onto our market. A chemical that was banned so many years ago, and still people can get access to them.
Right.
Why that? Why does it happen? Why is it that I can just go to the market and say I'm buying acid and I'll get access to it? Why?
But there are also other means. I don't want to mention some of them, but you would know that even with cars and stuff, there are certain, I don't want to mention so that no one listening to me might get ideas.
Yes.
But
I'm not sure that
I'm sure there are ways that people sometimes are able to get this. But I agree with you.
Way to regulate
we should clamp
because
down
the sort of destruction people are causing with assets, it's just too much. Look at how they've damaged the lady's face.
Yeah. No, this is lifetime. I mean, unless you get some very good surgeons, and can you imagine the cost?
How many people can afford?
Yeah.
So we should
deformed her for life.
We should begin to be talking about how to regulate certain things, acid, DDT, certain chemicals that are dangerous, so that people just can't get it. You know how explosives are. You cannot just get up and say I'm going to buy explosives. You won't get it because there are certifications you need to possess before you can get access to explosives. And that's how we should go about tackling some of these access to, you know, assets and DDT. Well, on the same front page of the Daily Statement, it says, transparency is vaccine against corruption. Bawumia tout digitalization as potent weapon. Hey, okay. My Christian faith shaped my legal and political life, according to our president, Nana Akufo-Addo. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into the Daily Guide newspaper. And there's more talk in that direction. Corruption needs transparency vaccine. That's on page 3. And Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has stated that transparency is the vaccine to provide the country immunity against corruption. According to him, corrupt people hate transparency, pointing out that it is only through transparency that the canker can be checked. And he says government intends to infuse greater transparency into the system in order to, quote, shine a light into the dark recesses of corruption. Building strong institutions means putting in place the right systems and practices that ensure transparency and bring about efficiency. I'll not go on, but Dr. Vice President, this is a plea. You're 5 years into your tenure. We want to see more of that transparency. So you shine more of that light on corruption so we'll not have so much waste in the system and so we can see more development. The talk shop doesn't help anybody. That is on page 3 of the paper. On the international front, the WHO estimates nearly 15 million deaths linked to the COVID pandemic. Africa deserves permanent Security Council seat. That's according to the UN chief. But, Senor Guterres, a seat for Africa? Like, you know, sometimes when we're put into a box of Africa, so maybe we'll have what? One, how will we even work it out? One seat from Africa, will it rotate? What will it be like? Because, but come to think of it, well, you would consider the United States a continent, right?
Yeah.
On their own. I mean, North America, the United States, Canada, and all of that. But when you look at the expanse of land, it's a continent on its own in that context. And they have only one. So, well, maybe you could look at it from.
But that's what Kwame Nkrumah was fighting for.
The United States of Africa.
Yes, that Africa becomes one. We have so many states, like the Ghana states, Nigerian states, South African states, with one president, but with several governors. That was what they were fighting for. But, well, like I listened to a public lecture by, I think, Julius Nyerere. He said Nkrumah was ahead of his time.
He was. He was decades ahead of his time.
They didn't understand him.
People couldn't fathom his vision.
Exactly. So they felt, this man, the way, where he's, I mean, what he's talking about, we don't know. We want to protect our individual countries. You're talking about us coming together to fight neocolonialism or what have you. They didn't understand.
And what we don't understand, we fight. And we missed that boat.
Yeah.
We are where we are today. But just to wrap, pastor charges $700 fee to guess what? Take people to heaven.
Who paid?
An evangelist is in trouble after telling people to, he knows of a gate leading to heaven from southwestern Nigeria that he can show them for a fee. And he charges 310,000 naira, $750 or 600 pounds equivalent. I want to know any of those who have made it thus far.
Anyway.
Show us the route.
I mean, this one is only some few people who don't probably read that will buy into this. Where is that gate? There's a gate that is leading to heaven on earth. Hey. Anyway, I'm doing a story from Punch Africa because of the nature of to celebrate Ghanaian businesses.
Punch us.
New tracks from President Mahama's younger brother causes stir on social media, and this is from his cement factory. What's the name?
Jata Cement.
They've brought in a long trailer trucks just so they can, you know, the trucks can haul cement to every part of the country. And they said if you need a truck to haul your cement or anything, just come to them. I think we need to celebrate these sort of achievements so we can, you know, encourage more people, more Ghanaians, to create businesses, to empower their fellow Ghanaians. Look at how they are empowering people who are into distribution. I don't want to mention any name, but one of us is seriously benefiting from this. It is because the Jata Cement decided that they want to make you a distributor. So I think that we need to celebrate this man. What's his name again? Ibrahim Mahama, solid entrepreneur. So kudos to him. The story can be found on the page 11 of the Punch Africa, so you know much more about the trucks that his company has brought into town. So that's it. Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, Reketega Dr. Mintanyako gave to Eid al-Fitr celebration. That's also in the Punch newspaper. I'm done with the Punch.
All right, the Finder, they have found my religious faith an integral part of my legal and political calling, like you mentioned, from the president. Identify risks and weaknesses in public economic management. That's according to Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. CDD fellow calls on journalists to adhere to ethics of the profession. I'm talking about a person who speaks to us often, fine gentleman, Dr. Osai Kwapong. And there's also 38,589 people sent to prison in 5 years. That's an 80.3%. So 80.3% of them are 35 years and below. That's according to the Ghana Prison Service. And 432 are aged between 12 and 17 who have also been convicted. When if you know about our legal system, of course, in most legal systems, the juvenile situation in there. But if you find them there, then there is specific cause. There's also U.S. support to apparel industry empowers women, or apparel industry. And Parliament to review appointments of MPs as heads of institutions. This is interesting.
Yeah, because this has been on the table for some time. You remember there's been a discussion about why we put MPs on board of institutions that they have to, superintend over. So, for example, if you have to ensure that institution A does its work perfectly, and you are a board member, how can you then question them if anything comes up? And so, well, we may get there where they would have there will be a time where MPs may not even be appointed to board and what have you. That stick to your parliamentary role and ensure that things are running the way they have to. So let's see how this goes. But it is good to hear that this is on the table once again.
Well, I'll just wrap in 20 seconds or so with this. So you know Elizabeth Ohene, former minister, and also someone who has been with the BBC. She gave a tongue lashing to the BBC in recent times about their reportage on media muzzling in Ghana. A former colleague of mine, Nkrumah, actually wrote to them, the BBC, asking for their take, and this is the response they gave. A BBC spokesperson, Ekene Oboko, said, "The focus of the BBC trending program, Ghana's Free Speech Crackdown, was to examine how state authorities have responded to journalists, broadcasters, and social media influencers who have been critical of the Ghanaian government. We have been robust in our reporting of the story and our right of reply process, and are confident that this is an impartial piece of journalism."
Okay.
The BBC to Elizabeth Ohene.
All right. There's a story here. Let's wrap with it. Republic Press. It says transport fares to go up again after government intervention fails. That story is on the page 4 of the Republic Press. Maybe when you get to it, you can get details of that.
And today, of course, we're talking about fuel price increments in the offing, in the next window. So we'll see about that.
All right.
But on that note, we say curtains for now on the news review. But up next, we have sports. And after that, don't you forget, we're talking about child streetism, begging, and the implications in a broader context, even as we also contemplate fuel prices and where we are heading next. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.